What's up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to kite on Identity 5. I'm going to be keeping the scope of this video like generally broad. I'm not going to be focusing on any like specific characters outside of which ones are best for practicing. So if you're looking for a specific guide on how to play a specific character, then this is probably not for you. This video is going to be more geared towards like beginners or people who just know they aren't very good at kiting. And I plan to make a more advanced video in the future at some point. Okay, so let's just get into the video. Okay, so if you're watching this video, I'm going to assume you already know what IDV is. And if for some reason you don't know what IDV is, I'm going to suggest that you back out while you're still ahead. Anyways, IDV is a 4v1 asymmetrical horror game, yada yada yada. You try to win the match. That's basically what it is. But the most fundamental and important part to winning a match at Survivor is being able to kite. Kiting can be explained simply as stalling for time. When kiting as a survivor, your goal is to waste as much of the hunter's time as possible in order to provide your teammates with more time to decode and get the ciphers done. So basically, the longer you kite, the more time you bought for your teammates to decode equals the more likely you are to win the match. Obviously, there's other things that go into it, but pretty much if you have a solid first kite, you're 9 times out of 10 gonna win. Okay, so first things first, I'm gonna start this video under the assumption that A, you literally just started the game yesterday, or B, you didn't start yesterday, but you cannot consistently kite to save your life. Okay, so my measurement for being consistently good at kiting is not actually arbitrary. Basically, if you can kite for at least 60 seconds or, 3 ciphers during the first chase for 7 out of 10 matches, then I'll consider you to be a proficient kiter. But if you can't do this, then your kiting probably needs some work. And the 7 out of 10 is because everyone has off matches, and it's kind of like with school. Like, if you know 70% of the curriculum, then you're going to be considered passing, even if you don't pass every single thing 100% of the time. So if you can kite 70% of the time, then, you're going to be considered good enough to where you probably don't need to be watching this video. And to start the guide, I'm going to break it down into a few different yet simple sections that any beginner can still grasp. 1. Study your maps and study your routes. 2. Study your characters and their abilities. 3. Study the art of mind gaming. 4. Practice, 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 with tips, of course. Alright, now that we've covered the different sections, let's just get into the first one. Alright, one of the most important and arguably the most important part of becoming a proficient kiter is learning your maps and learning what routes to take on every map. This can include learning spawns for the hunters and survivors on each map, learning the pallets and windows on each map, learning the best and worst kiting areas on each map, and learning how to successfully transition from one area to another on every map. Alright, now this can seem like a really daunting and difficult task for a beginner, but trust me, the majority of this knowledge comes with just playing the game and finding out organically what routes perform better than others. Like, for example, if you played a match as a little girl and you ran into the corner of the map and died immediately, then that was probably a sign that you ran into a shitty area of the map and you need to rethink where you're going. It's absolutely essential for consistent kiters to have a general idea of where they're going to go and where they're going to transition to once the time is right. Whenever you're kiting, you have to be thinking of escape routes, no matter the situation. When you first load into a match, regardless of where you spawn, look around and think of where the best place to run would be if the hunter were to swap targets onto you. Examine where the closest pallets or windows are. Examine the areas that have no visible pallets or windows. Think of all the directions the hunter could possibly come from and where you'll be running depending on each possibility. From there, with that knowledge, plan your escape routes. And just like that, you're already thinking critically before the match has even started, and you won't be caught off guard when the hunter decides to haul ass over to you. If you're already being chased and you don't have the opportunity to fully scan your surroundings, just run to the nearest pallet or window, and while looping that pallet or window, scan for another area you can run to if you take a hit or if you gain some distance on the hunter. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just getting in the habit of being aware of your surroundings is a critical skill you'll be building while doing these simple things. And it's okay to panic or to not know where to go next. That's what learning your routes is for. The best way to learn routes, in my opinion, would be to practice in a custom match and transition from area to area learning which paths work the best for you. Practice this against friends or bot hunters. Practice from multiple different spawn locations and with the hunter coming from multiple different locations. You don't have to memorize it all at once because the muscle memory will come naturally. Do this for every map available in ranked. If you put in some intentional time daily into studying your maps and routes, that along with regularly playing quick matches, you'll memorize it in no time, and proper routing will become almost second nature. Improvising is a really important part of routing as well. You can never take the same exact route every single match. A lot of the time you'll be forced to take a different path, whether from getting cut off by the hunter, teammates decoding on the cipher in that area, or other reasons. That's why it's important to learn the best areas on every map. And typically, the best places on any map is going to be the buildings. For Leo's memory, this could mean factory. For Sacred Heart Hospital, this would be hospital, but to be fair, pretty much anywhere is broken on this map, so those places can often be used for really effective looping and should always be considered as a potential transition location during a kite. Other strong places include anywhere with multiple pallets or windows. Examples would be God Pallet in Red Church or God Kite on Moonlit River Park. There's a reason why these locations are called God Pallets, and it's not for no reason, so utilize them. There are many videos on YouTube or just general discussion online about the strongest areas on every map, and for the sake of brevity, I won't be covering every single OP location on every map. However, I can in a future video if requested. So for now, do your own research on where the best locations on maps are and where the general worst locations are as well. And with all of that being said, I think we've successfully covered our first part of this video, so let's move on to part 2. I think this section is going to be easier for most people. The second best piece of advice I can give you is to genuinely study on your character and their abilities. For the sake of this video and guide, I'll be advising you to practice kiting on kiting assisted characters. It will make your practice easier and you'll learn the fundamentals with less mechanical stress. If you practice kiting on a character like Mindzai who literally has no kiting assistance, you'll be forced to already have a decent grip on fundamental skill, which will really only make you feel like a bad player in the long run. While in this phase of learning the fundamentals, I strongly suggest you avoid decoding characters. Even if Mindzai is your favorite, she's not made to kite. Decoders are by design the weakest class of survivor, and because of that, they're typically the most targeted by hunters. So trust me, you'll save yourself and your teammates many headaches if you steer clear of them until you can more consistently kite. Instead, I'll list off some strong recommendations I can suggest for beginners or people looking to improve their kiting skills in no particular order. First up, we have Magician. Magician is a very simple yet strong character when it comes to kiting. He has 3 wands, all incredibly useful for mindgaming the hunter, which I'll cover in the next section. He has strong transitioning abilities, he's easy to pick up and play, and overall is good for a beginner. Next we have Perfumer. She's one of the easiest survivors to learn. She can tank up to 5 hits if utilized correctly. She's extremely strong for kiting, and overall I'd recommend her as a beginner pick when learning how to kite. Enchantress has a very face value ability. She can stun hunters, she's great for looping, and another beautiful and viable pick for beginners. She can teach discipline at a very low investment cost. Acrobat is arguably one of the best kiters in the game. He's extremely strong and easy to use. He can also help teach you fundamentals with his skill. Psychologist is another classic when it comes to beginners looking to practice their kiting skills. She'll help you improve your raw skills better than any other survivor in the kiting category. She's one of the best survivors when it comes to learning the fundamentals of kiting, and overall a super good pick. All in all, these suggestions are merely suggestions. You can become just as proficient in kiting with any survivor you choose. These picks are just to help make your life a little bit easier as they're all built for kiting and they have tools to help you kite with more ease than any other group of survivors for a beginner. With all this in mind, you don't want to just play the character for the sake of playing the character. You want to be intentional about it. Be mindful of your character's cooldowns. Pay attention to how many resources you have left. Learn the best tips and tricks for your character of choice. For things like this, I recommend watching guides for the specific character you want to become proficient at. For example, I made a guide a few months ago on how to play Patient, including tips and tricks. The more you practice your character, the more proficient you'll become overall at kiting. Okay, y'all gotta really listen up during this section because this is where intuition, critical thinking, and game sense is gonna come to a head. If you ever want to get good at kiting, you're gonna have to learn how to successfully mind game. Mind gaming is a simple concept to grasp, but it can be the hardest part about kiting to actually pull off and practice. Mind gaming is like playing a guessing game. Both you and the hunter are going to be engaging in this guessing game at almost all times during the kite. The definition of a mind game is a behavior intended to influence an individual into performing a certain action, therefore giving the perpetrator the upper hand in a situation. To explain more concisely, the point of a mind game is to get into your opponent's head and predict what they're going to do next. This is crucial for kiting. You don't want to be blindly making moves, you want to make the moves based on what you predict the hunter is going to do next. The most straightforward example I can give of this is a pallet mind game. The background footage you see right now is me versus a lizard. Throughout this mind game, we're both trying to predict each other. I'm predicting he will not walk through the pallet and he'll swing instead. And he's predicting that I'll drop the pallet on him whenever he walks through it. He has to use blink to get a hit on me, so I'll consider that a successful mind game on my part. Mind games can be the difference between a win or a loss in some situations. The ability to mind game is another skill that develops with practice and intention. The most common mind games are pallet or window looping ones, like the one I showed you. The best hunters and the best survivors tend to also be the best at winning mind games. You can practice your ability to mind game by having a friend or a random in the chat offer to 1v1 you. Try looping them around a few pallets. See how many times you can successfully predict their moves. When mind gaming, you need to be good at pattern recognition. If you notice that a hunter swings at every pallet, you can use that to your advantage. Start walking through pallets more and being more patient when you drop them. If you notice a hunter walks through every pallet, start dropping pallets on them and getting stuns. It's all about pattern recognition and prediction. Another way you can practice this, oddly enough, is by playing hunter. It'll help you understand what a hunter may be thinking when they play, which you can use to correlate that to other hunters you play against, making mind gaming as a whole easier for you. Unfortunately, there's no quick hack to improving your mind gaming skills. You just have to play the game and gain experience with it. Okay, as you've probably gathered during the course of this video up until now, practice is essential for improving and the only guaranteed way to improve both your mechanical and fundamental skills. However, this section isn't for no reason. I want to provide some helpful tips and insight that can and hopefully will make your life much easier while kiting and overall while playing IDV. My first tip is don't take it too serious. IDV is a mobile game, it's not your job. You aren't obligated to play when you don't want to, and you shouldn't be playing until you're on the brink of tears from frustration. Give yourself breaks and only play when you want to play. Don't treat this shit like it's a 9 to 5. Doing that is only going to make it harder for you to learn, and you're not going to even want to play. Okay, my second tip, and this one is actually essential, is to look behind you while you're kiting. I see way too many beginners out here not even looking at where the hunter is half the time when they're kiting. It's going to be uncomfortable at first to get used to it, but you'll genuinely be thankful that you started sooner rather than later. It'll help you learn the map better, and you want to always have eyes on the hunter whenever possible. Otherwise, you're gonna get caught lacking. You don't need to be staring into the hunter's eyes every second, but you do need to be frequently turning your camera all the way around so you can see where the hunter is. And this one is super important, so keep this in mind and practice it. Okay, my third tip is gonna be to abuse custom matches. You can do it solo, you can do it with bots, you can do it with other players, you can do it with friends, it doesn't matter. You just need to use the custom matches. You can use them for practicing routes, you can use them for memorizing maps, you can use them for practicing characters, you can use it to practice mind gaming, you can use it for everything, okay? They're fun, and it's a no-stakes way of learning how to play IDV if you're too scared to do it in a quick match with real people. I still 1v1 my sister on customs just because it's fun. It really is a good way to practice, and you should be utilizing it as much as you can. Tip 4. Play with a friend. Try to get someone you know to play with you or make a friend on the game. Literally everything is easier when you're having fun, and what's a better way to have fun than when you're playing with other people? A bit of friendly competition can also be a healthy way of challenging yourself to improve. This game is also just way easier when you're playing with other people. Tip 5. Avoid ranking at low levels. Ranked is fun, but it should generally be avoided until you become more proficient at the game. Many people take ranked very seriously, and you won't have the best time getting cussed out in post-match because your skill level doesn't match what's expected. I think it's fine to rank up to like maybe Elk, since Elk and below is pretty unserious anyways. But for the most part, you just want to avoid ranking until you get to that level where you know you're proficient enough at kiting. Tip 6, I think, is to consume more IDV content. Watch more high-rank IDV videos or tournaments. It'll help you see how real pros play the game, and you can really learn a lot from watching content like that. You can find plenty of tournament videos or, pro-ranked videos on YouTube, or you can even watch Spectate the Pros during ranked hours on IDV. But yeah, I think that's probably going to be about it for this guide. There's genuinely so many tips I could have included, but it's like that would just be too many, so I think 6 is a good amount. Pretty general tips. Let me know if there's anything else that you would recommend a new player do. I'm gonna just keep this outro short because this video is already long enough, but yeah, let me know if there's anything you think I missed in this video, or if there's tips you have for other people in the comments. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. Oh yeah, and like and subscribe if you like this. Okay, bye.